who will start at the cornerback spot tonight. Bottom of the screen. And he will move with Muhsin Mohammed, the man in motion. Grossman starts by handing the ball off to Cedric Benson, fourth pick in the draft 3 years ago. And let's take a look at the Chicago offense.
Rex Grossman, Florida Gators.
Cedric Benson, University of Texas.
Jason McKee, Temple.
Muhsin Mohammed, Michigan State University.
Bernard Berrien, the one and only Fresno State.
Desmond Clark, Wake Forest University.
John Tate, Brigham Young University.
Ruben Brown, Pitt.
Olin Cruz, University of Washington.
Roberto Garza, Texas A&M Kingsville.
Fred Miller, Baylor University.
Cruz, a six-time Pro Bowler, and through the middle goes Benson for a first down to the 42. Last year, he played, in effect, behind Thomas Jones. Jones sent to the Jets, had a good day today. Benson is now the man here in Chicago. 12-yard gain.
And he does a great job of running here. And sometimes the back has to have some patience. You see there, he has to wait and wait for something to develop. He sees it to the right, and then he slides to the right and finds that crease or gap right there.
18 yards, 2 carries, the first 2 plays of the game. Now Grossman will throw for the first time tonight. To the sideline he goes. The pass is right on the money, but it is dropped. It is incomplete. Bernard Berrien, as he tried to haul it in, was hit by Jacques Reeves. Incomplete. It'll be second down.
Yeah, and talking to both Rex Grossman and Ron Turner, the offensive coordinator, they thought that that's where some of their big plays could come from, is passing on first down. You know, throwing on running downs, get some play action pass. That is better than getting into those third down nickel situations where they can get a lot of blitz, because the Bears have not been good against the blitz this year.
Now Adrian Peterson is the backup back to the 40-yard line. 1 touchdown in 25 drives for Chicago going against this Dallas defense.
Marcus Spears, Louisiana State. Jay Ratliff, Auburn.
Chris Canty, Wahoo Wah.
Anthony Spencer, Purdue. Brady James, LSU.
Aiken Adele, Purdue.
Marcus Ware, Troy.
Jacques Reeves, Boilermaker.
Roy Williams, Oklahoma.
Ken Hamlin, Arkansas.
Anthony Henry, South Florida.
Wahoo Wah, a.k.a. University of Virginia. Boilermaker, Purdue.
We're talking about Terrence Newman, Alan. This is his first time that he's been in this season.
And Grossman gets hit as he throws, and it's a wobbly pass that is incomplete. So Rex got hit. Stephen Bowen, who backs up Chris Canty at one of the defensive end spots, is the guy who comes in, second-year guy out of Hofstra against the Osos. The Vaqueros have it at the 20-yard line for the first time tonight. The Cowboys on 1st and 10, and Tony Romo will go to the air. Slips out of the pocket, but not that far enough. Mark Anderson, who had a tremendous rookie year, came out of nowhere with a dozen sacks as a rookie, and now a starter sacks Romo.
You know, and that's the thing that Tony Romo does so well. He has great speed, and he moves well in the pocket, but this Bear defense moves great, and they have good speed. And you'll see Mark Anderson there. He can get inside. Tony Romo tries to get outside of him, but he can turn, react, and quickly get back to Tony Romo. So this is going to be the challenge for Romo, is the speed of this Bear defense.
Went right by Flozell Adams on 2nd and 21 now. On the ground, this is Julius Jones, hit by Adam Archuleta, formerly with St. Louis and Washington, now coming over to Chicago and creating a 3rd and long. Now the Cowboys with 41 points a game, 45 against the Giants, and then 37 more last week, and 415 yards a game coming into this one.
You see, that was a running down there, and the Bears played their 8-man front. They brought Adam Archuleta out. You know, you always think that the Bears are cover 2 team, but they're not on 1st and 2nd down. Now, when you get to 3rd down, they will play that Tampa 2 in this situation.
Owens wide left. Tillman one-on-one with him for the moment. 3rd down and 19. Bears moving around. Romo throws over the middle. Romo to Owens, but he's going to be stopped short of the first down. So Terrell found the open spot. Tillman was right with him all the way, makes the tackle, and stops him about 2 yards shy of the first. Despite all the craziness surrounding Rex Grossman, 19 consecutive starts, longest for a Bears quarterback in over a decade. Eric Kramer had 20 starts, the 20th of which came in 1996. Now Rex at the 24-yard line. throws, and that's caught, and this is Berrien picking up a first down, tackled by Reeves. You know, John, you talked about the good Rex and the bad Rex. They talk about that here a lot. And also occasionally you'll see his name written in the paper as W-R-E-C-K-S, Grossman.
Right, and the problem with him is he just can't get in a rhythm, you know, and I think it's one of those things. What comes first? Do you play well and then get confidence, or do you have confidence and you go out and play well? Rex Grossman right now doesn't have an awful lot of confidence.
They have Hester in the game, and they use him as a decoy there as Cedric Benson goes up the middle. Hester, a great return man, and they also now are going to try to work him in from time to time offensively at wideout.
Yeah, Lovie Smith was telling us the other day that his sons know. You know, every time he'd put Devin Hester in, it would be a play for Devin Hester, and then the defense would just jump on him. So he said this week he wants to start, you know, playing him as a decoy and putting in places where he doesn't always get the ball.
Hard to sneak him into the game. 2nd down and 9. Benson again, and Benson up to the 36-yard line. You know, with Grossman, and we talk about quarterback ratings a lot, and there's a lot that goes into it, obviously. But if you rate over 100, that's very good. You've had a very good game. It's as simple as that. If you rate, look at the last two parts of that graphic at the bottom. A 1 to 40 rating, which is terrible, 4 times last year. A 0 rating, which is god-awful with 8 exclamation points. He had one of those games last year.
Right, and I think we did that one. Wasn't that the Green Bay game?
New Year's Eve.
Yeah, we experienced that one.
3rd and 8. And Grossman throws, and that pass is right there and caught by Berrien. So there is the good Rex with a good arm, threads the needle. Berrien makes the catch along the sideline, first down. Got position on Anthony Henry, and that's a 17-yard gain.
Anthony Henry gave him a lot of room out there, because I know one thing. You look at Anthony Henry back here, you look at that space that he's given up right there for the out, and then you push him deep. They are worried about Bernard Berrien beating them deep. So that's what happened. You know, you tell a guy, don't get beat deep, watch out for Berrien deep, and then, you know, he just forces like he's going up, and then he cuts it off in an out pattern.
In Dallas territory now. Play fake, buys time, passes low. And after we saw the good Rex, there's the other Rex with Muhsin Mohammed, who's only caught 2 passes in the first 2 games, where he succeeded Dan Reeves about 5 years ago. Benson will chug to the 41-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 4. And John, they had to make a choice. Thomas Jones had done a good job for them, wanted to renegotiate his contract. They weren't sure about Benson, at least the fans weren't sure, figuring a guy who was picked 4th should be better. But now they've handed the ball to Benson and said, you are the guy.
You know, that's what I always thought. If a guy was drafted that high in the 1st round, why didn't he play more? And I guess early he was having trouble with the passing game, not only, you know, running pass routes and pass patterns, but also in pass protection. And if you can't pass protect, it's tough to play a lot.
3rd down and 4, and that pass is caught, and that's Berrien making the catch, and thinks that he wasn't down by contact, but he was at the 33, and that'll be enough for a first down, tackle by Anthony Henry. Moves the chains.
Yeah, we saw when Anthony Henry was off, we saw Berrien beat him on the out. Now we see Anthony Henry up here, and he's going to beat him on the slant. He just makes a few moves there, gets to his inside. Grossman reads it perfectly and hits him in the first window. But again, good pass protection by the Bears. That is big.
Hester's in the game. He's in motion. Berrien's caught all 3 of Grossman's completions. And out of the outside goes Benson for a nice gain. Thrown out at the 26, and that provokes a flag. Jacques Reeves got a hand maybe on the face mask, and that should tack on some yardage. 5 yards.
Now just watch as Devin Hester comes around, how it holds this backside back here so that you can get the run to that side. I mean, Hester really affects the football game in a lot more ways than you can imagine.
Winter called it on 31. The call was on 35. Jacques Reeves. Hester stays in. Quick count. 21-yard line. Benson to the outside, but going nowhere this time. Staying right with him. The emerging star, DeMarcus Ware, 3rd year out of Troy, who really figures to be a big star, especially in Wade Phillips' version of the 3-4.
And I think he needs another strong rusher on the other side. You know, Anthony Spencer is a rookie, could be that guy, but the guy that they're really counting on is Greg Ellis, and they're not sure when they're going to get him, but you know, they can slide everything, they can double him, they can run away from DeMarcus Ware because they really don't have that strong guy on the other side yet.
Ellis coming off Achilles surgery. Second down and 11. And that pass is caught over the middle. And this is Greg Olsen. He was their #1 draft choice. He's playing in his first game as a Bear. He's had a knee injury. The ball got loose for a second, but he covers up, and they have very high hopes. He's a Miami tight end. And when you talk about Miami tight ends, you think about people like Kellen Winslow and Jeremy Shockey. And here's the next guy of that breed.
You know, and he's a receiving tight end, too. I mean, he's not going to be the blocking prototypical type defensive or tight end. He's going to be the slot wide receiver type of a guy. And on that last play, he was in the slot.
3rd and 4 now. Grossman to the outside, right on the money. And Musa Mohammed gets saluted by the crowd. He makes his first catch of the night and his 3rd catch of the season. He's tackled by Reeves, and this drive, which is now approaching the 6-minute mark, has a 1st and goal here.
You know, they have a good deal going here, the Bears do, because these corners don't know what to do. I mean, if they come up and play tight, then they get inside and run slants and crosses. If they play off like Jock Reeves is there, then they just throw the ball in front of them. That's what I was saying earlier about this Dallas team. It's a good team, but I think that the defense isn't ready to be a championship defense yet.
1st and goal, double tight end set. They use the fullback McKee. They give it to Benson. He'll cut it back and take it to about the 2.5-yard line. Desmond Clark led the way. This drive over 6 minutes. Good mixture here. They've had 6 rushes and 6 passes.
Yeah, it's great mixture. I was just thinking of that. You know, that when Ron Turner was talking the other day, he said, you know, we have to get some passing game going that'll help our running. And usually, you know, offensive coordinators talk the opposite. You know, say we got to get the running game going, and that'll open our passing. But I think he's doing a good job of that, getting some passing going, and that loosens up your running game.
John St. Clair, eligible receiver, caught a touchdown pass last week to tackle, but this time they go to Benson for no gain. So it'll be 3rd down and goal as we tick down under 4 minutes to play. In a scoreless opening first quarter, Lovie Smith, new contract in hand, led the team to the Super Bowl, 4th year as the Bears head coach.
And he's from Texas, and he's a big Cowboy fan, or he was a big Cowboy fan growing up. He was a big fan of Roger Staubach, and he said he met Roger this off season, and he was so happy to meet him. You know, his hero, Roger Staubach, and Roger asked Lovie for his autograph. He thought something's wrong with this deal.
3rd down and goal.
Cowboys are in 6 defensive backs.
Grossman on a roll, looking, and then he has to throw it out of the end zone, so the coverage was good. The pass was intended for Musa Mohammed, running over a cameraman at the end of the play here on NBC. Kickoff went out of bounds. Tony Romo takes over at the 40-yard line against this 4-man Chicago front. And he gives the ball to Jones. That's a gain of 8. Let's take a look at the Dallas starters.
Tony Romo, Eastern Illinois.
Julius Jones, Notre Dame.
Terrell Owens, Tennessee Chattanooga.
Patrick Creighton, Northwestern Oklahoma State. Jason Witten, Tennessee.
Anthony Fasano, Notre Dame.
Lorenzo Allen, Michigan State.
Kyle Kozar, Arizona State.
Andre Gerard, Colorado.
Leonard Davis, Texas. Mike Colombo, Boston College.
And again, he's playing against Mark Anderson over there, who is a very, very good speed rusher. This guy right here. Look at him. He's trying to get the crowd involved so that Flozell will jump again.
On 2nd and 13 now. And Jones goes nowhere. 35. Let's take a look at the Chicago defense.
Adewale Ogunleye, Tonville High School.
Tommy Harris, the University of Oklahoma.
Darwin Walker, University of Tennessee.
Mark Anderson, Alabama Crimson Tide.
Hunter Hillenmeyer, Vanderbilt.
Brian Urlacher, University of New Mexico.
Lance Briggs, University of Arizona.
Charles Tillman, the University of Louisiana.
Adam Archuleta, Arizona State.
Danielle Manning, Abilene Christian.
Nathan Vasher, the University of Texas.
3rd and 15. Dallas has had a lot of success converting on 3rd and long in its first 2 games. Will they do so here? No, they can't. It's tipped and intercepted. Adam Archuleta intercepts after Patrick Creighton playing with a broken pinky that he incurred last week at Miami. Couldn't hold on. Picture before the game. Has a glove over it, but had that pass deflect off his hands to the Bears for the pick, and now Grossman tries to cash in by beginning this drive with a pass to Berrien, his new favorite target, covered and knocked out of bounds by Reeves after a gain of 13.
We talked about 2 weeks ago the Giants scored 35 points against the Cowboys, and the Bears are doing a lot of the same thing. I mean, those corners are playing off, and if they play off like that, you can throw hooks, you can throw ins, and you can throw outs on them all night. Now they're coming up to press, and then you can throw the deeper pattern.
From the 35-yard line on first down. 3-yard gain here for Cedric Benson. Here's the Cowboy defense.
Running in the end, and what Grossman is doing, he's trying to lead him. You see, here he starts in the end. He's leading him to the inside, but it looked like Muhammad stopped. He didn't keep coming across. Had he kept coming across, I think this could have been a completion. You see, Grossman is leading him in. Muhammad doesn't come in, but Henry does come in and pick it off.
Agreed. Put it where he should. He was inside of him, and he just stopped. So Henry gets the interception. Marion Barber is now in the game. So Jones plays a couple of series, and now, per usual, here is Barber, who scored 16 touchdowns last year, and he runs right into number 92, who is Hunter Hillenmeyer, who doesn't get a lot of acclaim because when you play on a linebacker core that has Brian Urlacher, who everybody knows, and Lance Briggs, who a lot of people know, it's easy to get lost.
Right, and then you have up front, you have Tommy Harris, who everyone knows, who can be, when he's completely healthy, the best and most dominant defensive lineman in the NFL. So by the time you get to Hillenmeyer, you have to go through about 5 or 6 guys.
Look at this. You've got Owens lined up as a tailback just for the moment. He's going to go in motion. Operates now out of the slot. Romo looked that way, then dumps it off for Jones, and Jones is able to slip a tackle in the backfield. A flag goes down, so he turns a loss into what might be a pretty good gain as he broke a tackle, broke out of an Urlacher tackle, but a flag was thrown back at the 34-yard line. 2nd and 20. Barber is the running back. Marion takes it, goes nowhere. This is Lance Briggs. You know, Chicago used to seeing good backs. I mean, they've seen probably the 2 best over the last 2 weeks. They met LaDainian Tomlinson in week 1 and held him to 1.5 yards a carry, and then followed that up by seeing Larry Johnson of Kansas City 3.4. So over the first 2 games, the Bears' lowest yards per carry for the opponents since 1942, and against the 2 best.
Right, and they play that 8-man up on running downs like they did on that last one, and their front 4 dominates.
3rd and 21. Romo steps up, hits Creighton underneath, and Creighton gets up to the 34-yard line. Needed 21 and got about 10.
We support him by letting him know that we all know on our team that it's not all his fault. Like, we know that we made mistakes too. We all have to pick up our game on offense. We've all been playing bad on offense, and we all need to do better.
Krutz, the Pro Bowler, 6-time Pro Bowler, talking about Grossman. Rex is 6 out of 11 for 66 yards, 1 pick. He has it now at the 23-yard line and hands the ball off to Benson, trying to get outside and nowhere to go. That's Anthony Spencer, #1 draft choice out of Purdue, a rookie, and he's getting force-fed into action immediately as a starter because of the injury to Greg Ellis.
You know, and that's what they need on that other side. And we talk about, you know, DeMarcus Ware and the strength on one end, and then so they want to stay away from him. So then that means they have to go to Anthony Spencer's side, and then Spencer has to make the plays like he just did.
2nd down and 14. Muhammad in motion. Benson probes the middle. 24-yard line.
You know, I was glad to hear Olin Krutz say that, you know, that it wasn't all Grossman. You know, sometimes we tend to give the quarterback too much credit and way too much blame, and I felt against Kansas City last week that this offensive line of the Bears was not very good at all, and they did not give Rex Grossman much protection. Now tonight, so far, it's a totally different story.
Good protection for him. Meanwhile, Benson's running for only 3 yards per carry. He's carried the ball a dozen times already. Grossman to throw. A little bit of pressure this time. And that pass is incomplete. Reaching up for it was Rasheed Davis, but he's covered by Terrence Newman coming in and playing in the nickel situation here. And it's 4th down and 8. Little difference, though, in pedigree. Grossman, a #1 draft choice out of Florida. And Tony, not only undrafted, but just sat on the bench for 3 years. Back to pass is Romo. Over the middle. Getting open is the tight end, Witten. Normally, he loves to get Witten in the middle of the field. Witten that time went down the middle of the field, worked his way to the outside. Big gainer there for a first down, 34 yards.
Now you watch Witten. He's going to come in motion here across the field. Then he comes up and goes back across the other way. And talking to Tony Romo last night about Jason Witten, he said he's so big that he said even if I'm looking right or I'm looking left, I'll see Jason Witten in the middle. And he said that's a real plus for him, having that big guy always in the middle for him.
From the 35, Romo will go to the air again, this time to the outside, and that is caught at the 25-yard line by Terrell Owens. So Owens, with a touchdown last week with a couple in the opener, has now caught 2 tonight for a total of 28 yards, and that's a first down.
Now you feel that Jason Garrett, the offensive coordinator, said, okay, that's enough of that run. Let's just come out and start passing on 1st and 2nd down, and let's go to our best guy, and when you do that, that's Terrell Owens. Again, Charles Tillman out there. Wherever Terrell Owens goes, Charles Tillman goes.
To the air a 3rd straight time, and that is Owens this time. The pass is incomplete, and there's a flag at the end of the play as the pass was knocked away by Charles Tillman. 1st and 20 back at the 35. Urlacher creeping up, and he's going to blitz. That doesn't happen that often. And then Witten gets free again to the outside. And finally taken down by Archuleta after he was trailed by Briggs.
Yeah, we talk about, the things that Terrell Owens does. He was on the short cross. Everyone is going to come up. Now watch, Urlacher is going to blitz. Gerard picks him up there, gives a good pocket for Tony Romo. You see the short cross. That was Terrell Owens. They come up on him, and Witten gets in behind him.
That was a 1st and 20, and it got 22 yards. Witten's caught 2 balls for 56 on this drive. Cowboys have started slowly in each of their first 2 games and then come on, and that's the pattern right now. From the 12-yard line, Romo will throw that one off the hand of Witten at the back of the end zone. Dallas did not score a touchdown in either of its first 2 games, yet 45 points against the Giants, 37 against Miami in the first quarter of either of those games.
I think they came out early and they were trying to establish a run, and you're not going to run against this Bear defense. And then they tried to screen, and they've already had 5 penalties and so on. Now they have 6 penalties, but now it looks like Jason Garrett says the heck with that. We have a good pass protecting offensive line. Let's just go and throw the ball against these guys. Not a bad idea.
Barber is the running back. Owens wide to the right. And that pass intended for Pisano, the other tight end who backs up Jason Witten and plays in these sets coming out of the slot. It'll be 3rd down and 10.
I was talking to Brian Urlacher the other day, and he said he talked to Zach Thomas, who played against Tony Romo last week, and he said, watch out. He's really quick and he's really fast. He's a lot quicker and faster than he looks on film. He said to always be aware of that with him. And I said, well, what else did he say? And he said, well, he didn't remember a lot because Zach Thomas had a concussion on the first play of the game.
No wonder Romo looks so fast. 3rd down and 10. Romo throws, and that pass is incomplete. Creighton wants a flag, doesn't get it. Coverage is good. So a good start to this drive, backed up by a penalty, converted on a 1st and 20, but then bogged down here on NBC. Chicago from the 18-yard line. This is Benson swinging to the outside and picking up about 6 yards. Jock Reeves makes the tackle. Penalty. 6 penalties for 40 yards against Dallas. No penalties against Chicago as he has flown in for the game. And this is a 3-yard pickup through the middle. John, you can relate to that. You haven't been on a plane since 78 or 79, right?
Right. It was 1979. It was the Sunday after Thanksgiving. 1979 was the last time I was on an airplane. Lovey was telling us a story about his mother never being on an airplane. I mean, she had come to his games before and come up here to Chicago from Texas, but had always driven. And this was the first time in her life that she ever flew on an airplane. I said, I can understand your mother.
Second down and 16, and Grossman gets sacked back at the 4-yard line. And we talked about the emerging star in DeMarcus Ware. DeMarcus Ware comes around the corner, and Chicago now will operate from its own 4.
Remember, I was talking about a spot rush, and you know that right here is going to be the spot. And you just rush to that spot, and you're going to find Rex Grossman. You see, because he's not a scrambling guy. In fact, he just runs into this sack right here. But, he can't get out of the way. So he almost, to play, Rex Grossman almost has to have perfect pass protection.
First sack of the season for him. Ran around John Tate. Here's Adrian Peterson. Not to be confused with the rookie Adrian Peterson for the Minnesota Vikings. His hold in the playoff game against Seattle, people thought, well, maybe he'd have a little bit of a hangover. The league would catch on to him. But so far, so good for him, at least this season. From the 46-yard line, Romo under pressure, is able to escape at first, but here comes Urlacher to clean up. That's like a guy picking up a slop goal after somebody, and it was somebody in the form of Lance Briggs and Mark Anderson, create the sack, and Urlacher is there to finish up the meal.
And that's what speed on defense does to you, because Tony Romo has very quick feet. He's very good in the pocket. He gets that push up the middle. Urlacher was just waiting. He's the second guy. He's green dogging. He's waiting. He's kind of spying Tony Romo. And then when he sees him move in the pocket, he comes right up and gets him. But they have so much speed. I mean, not only their ends, their defensive tackles, their linebackers. This defense has speed all over.
Second and 18. And Romo throws, and that's out of bounds. Funny thing about Urlacher, you think about him as a linebacker, doesn't blitz all that much. In fact, Urlacher won 28 games. That's almost 2 full seasons without a sack. Then he had one last week, and now he has one tonight.
And, because he's so good in pass coverage. I mean, he's one of the best middle linebackers in a lot of areas, but pass coverage being one of them. So when you get third and long like this, you don't want to blitz Brian Urlacher, because this is where they use that Tampa 2, and he runs deep and ends up in like a safety position. Watch how deep Brian Urlacher will get on this play in his alignment and in the play. He's right here right now.
Already lined up 8 yards back of the line of scrimmage. A little screen is set up here for Jones, and Jones turning it into a nice gain, taking it to the 40-yard line. He won't pick up the first down. Alex Brown makes the tackle, but he goes from third and very long to fourth and about 3.
Tony Romo looked like he wanted to go for it, and maybe he talked him into letting him go for it.
So they line up in the shotgun. They send Owens in motion, and they will go for it on 4th and 3. And Romo's throw is caught by Owens. So a big gamble, and it pays off to the 28-yard line. If you don't make it, of course, you give Chicago the ball near midfield. Wade Phillips nods approvingly. Big gamble, and that came about because Darwin Walker couldn't get off the field, and Chicago had to take a timeout.
Right, and you see Terrell Owens, he starts off in the backfield, and then that's the big thing that they want to do is move him around. He ends up in the slot, comes on and in. Tony Romo kind of watching him the whole way. But Tony Romo knew he had that play. When you tell a coach, hey, let me go for 4th down, I'll guarantee you a first down, you better do it.
28-yard line, Romo throws, and that's caught by Witten, and Witten's going to pick up the first down. He's going to drag Hillenmeyer with him for another 5 yards all the way down to the 12-yard line.
And you could just tell that Tony Romo didn't want to come out, and he went over there and he did some politicking, because he was just getting a feeling and he wanted to keep it. Here they have good pass protection. If you give Tony Romo that kind of pass protection, he could look at his first guy, his second guy, and eventually, like on this play to Witten, his third guy.
Cowboys have not run the ball once on either of their last 2 drives. From the 11-yard line, out of the shotgun here. And this time they'll run it with an inside handoff to Jones, and he gets tackled by Ricky Manning Jr. as he falls forward to the 9-yard line, setting up a 2nd down and 8.
That's why you have to like Tony Romo. I mean, that gunslinger mentality. And we talked to him about, you know, who was your guy, and Brett Favre was kind of his guy. John Elway was the other one that he talks about. And, you know, you can see a lot of Brett Favre in it, you know, and that whole thing of, you know, let me go for it on 4th down. You know, I mean, I know I can get it. I got a rhythm going. I have something going. I'm going to do it here.
You need a coach who's running shotgun with you, too.
Right, and I think Wade Phillips is that guy, and so is Jason Garrett.
On 2nd and 8, that pass is low but caught. Pisano makes the catch and stays inbounds at the 6-yard line. And it will be 3rd down and 4.
This is where he usually looks for Jason Witten down here again, you know, in the middle there, the bigger target, and anytime you need a play, I would also look for Terrell Owens. I think those are probably the 2 things he's thinking right now is Terrell Owens or Jason Witten.
Owens wide to the left. He has Sam Hurd wide right. He has Creighton in the slot to the right. He looks right. He goes right. And it's dropped. A sure touchdown dropped by Patrick Creighton. Creighton coming out of the slot. Had one deflect off his hands. And again, with that bringing it up again and again, it comes into play here. Broken pinky last week.
Yeah, you see him. He's in the slot, and he just gets over the goal line. The ball is thrown perfectly. It's in his hands. I mean, if anything, maybe he takes his eyes off. No, he doesn't even do that. And last time when he dropped that ball, it was intercepted. He was on the bench and saying, "No, it's not the finger. It's not the finger. It was me. It was me."
I don't know what that was. It was everything.
That was him. That was him.
Yeah. 23-yard attempt, and that is blocked. So an easy field goal attempt, and now you've got Adam Archuleta running down the sideline and finally forced out of bounds by McQuiston. 3 straight games for the Bears in which they have blocked an opponent's field goal. What a turn of events.
Israel Adonijah, number 71, who is a great special teams player. He's the guy that's going to get it. And they do all these things so well. You know, it's defense, it's special teams, it's returns, it's blocking field goals. It's all these things that the Bears do well, and that's why they were in the Super Bowl last year.
Of those 3 blocked field goals, he has 2 of them. And now Chicago, a moment ago, they should have been down 10-3. Instead, it's 3-3. They have it in Dallas territory, and Grossman's throw is incomplete. Down the field, intended for the tight end, Desmond Clark. It'll be 2nd down and 10, and that takes us to the 2-minute warning. Motley Crue, bada boom, bada bing, performing at halftime. 2nd down and 10 at the 46-yard line. That pass is caught, and Bernard Berrien fights his way for a 1st down. Forward progress will spotted at about the 35, under 2 minutes to play.
Berrien ran a hook there, and just watching in this first half, Grossman seems a lot more comfortable throwing hooks and outs. He looked very good throwing those, not so good on the ends.
Well, at 6'1", is he more comfortable looking to the outside?
I think so, yeah. And then, you know, if he can find that gap that he was looking for right there, yeah.
Oh, he's perfectly comfortable there, and Bernard Berrien would have had, if not a touchdown, set up a 1st down and goal right in his hands, a la Creighton on the last series.
Yeah, and that was a perfect call there. Bernard Berrien makes a good move. He goes for the slant. Anthony Henry tries to jump the slant. Then Berrien goes up. And again, you know, you have to get your hands out in front of your body. You can't let the ball get into your shoulder pad, or that will always happen to you. And that was a perfect call, the perfect defense, the perfect pattern, and he dropped it.
Soulmates. Berrien's caught 5 and dropped 2. 2nd down and 10. And backing up was Grossman. The pressure was put on that time to Marcus Ware, who already has a sack tonight.
Has allowed pretty good pass protection tonight.
And a couple of drops.
Drops. A lot of drops in that move.
Short drop here on 3rd and 10, and that pass is incomplete. Berrien looks around for a flag. There is none. The coverage there by Anthony Henry. So if they want to attempt a field goal here, they're looking at about a 53-yarder, and that will be the case as Robbie Gould is going to come out.
That was interesting there, Anthony Henry jumping that slant. He had jumped that slant earlier, and that's when Berrien went by him. and dropped the ball, but he came right back and jumped it again.
Bobby Gould, as you can see, has never attempted a field goal of this distance. Normally in Chicago, you always have some sort of weather. It's perfect right now. It's beautiful. That will be no excuse. And they'll toss it back to him, and then Gould will look to throw, and he will throw into traffic, and that is incomplete. Nathan Jones read that one pretty nicely. And so they're unable to convert off the break that they got after the Creighton drop, and they missed field goal.
This didn't have a chance. This call must have come off that moonshot we had. That play kind of looked like it, didn't it?
Well, the one good thing for Chicago here is it saved them 7 to 8 yards. If you try a field goal and you miss it, then Dallas would have started from about the 42.5. There it is again. We blame everything on that. Instead, because it was an actual play, as if it was a pass play, a regular pass play, conventional, they start back at the 35.
Right, but I mean, you have your kicker and the receiver is your holder and the other receiver is your tight end. You didn't have a chance. It's a moonshot.
Once in a blue moon. That pass is incomplete, intended for Owens. And it will be 2nd down and 10. We can tell you that Sunday Night Football is being brought to you by Best Buy. For a complete home theater experience, get HD done right at Best Buy. By Subway, restaurants in the Subway, fresh fit meals, Subway Eat Fresh. By eBay, shop victoriously. And by Farmers Insurance. To find an agent near you, call 1-800-FARMERS. Aerial coverage being provided by Gillette Deodorant. Looking down into refurbished Soldier Field. Reopened in 2003. Did a beautiful job with it. 2nd down and 10. And they're going to keep it on the ground. And this is Barber. And we got a flag here as Briggs hitting first. They might have gotten a face mask with effectiveness.
Like this, but the good news is that the tackles are outside the guards. The bad news is the linebackers are inside.
And they have got a 7-man front there as they back off, and the pass intended for Owens is incomplete, staying right with him. Shadowing him again is Charles Tillman. Owens tonight has caught 3 passes for 40 yards.
Yeah, and again, I think that's a good matchup. I mean, when you ask a guy to play Terrell Owens the whole game, that's a tough job because he's big, he's a physical guy, he's a tough receiver, so you have to match that, and I think that's what Tillman does. I mean, Tillman is a big guy, he's a tough guy, he's a physical guy, and he can stay with Terrell Owens.
Bottom of the screen, there's that matchup. They're going to give it to Barber, and Barber will chug up to the 32-yard line. So they'll punt, and Chicago will take a timeout, their final one. From the 29 now, Grossman throws to Clark, and Clark will try to get out of bounds, and does, and gets horse-collared as well. So he's out of bounds. Wade Phillips removes the headset with authority and says that was not a horse collar, and at the 50-yard line, 1st down. Grossman throws, knocked away. You know, I guess, John, it's one of those things where you just can't help yourself. I mean, you are the reason. There's a penalty like a horse collar, right? You know it's because of you. You know that it's a penalty. And it's like you can't help yourself.
Yeah, but you know it when you're thinking. When you're playing on instincts, and it's an instinct, your instinct doesn't think. I mean, your instinct is a reaction, and that's Roy Williams' action and instinct. That doesn't make it right. I mean, it's still a penalty, but you just see a guy and you run after him and you grab him, and that's where he grabbed him.
2nd down and 10. Grossman will swing it to the outside, and that's a shirt tackle made there as Kevin Burnett.
All season, and that was to a tackle.
There's Owens playing safety.
Yeah, they have 4. The Cowboys have 4 guys deep in the goal line.
Look at this. You've got a flag, and you're going to have, well, the clock ran out, but if they look at this again, and it can be reviewed upstairs, then Chicago may have given up the ball, and Wade Phillips is saying we might have one more play if that's on Chicago.
Offense number 76.
And it is. They can decline it.
because the penalty occurred on the last play of the game, last play of the half, by the offense. The half is over.
Well, that's interesting. He's down. The question is, where was the clock? Take a look at this. There's the clock at the bottom of the screen. When is the play whistle dead? Here comes Ware. He's going to come in. There's the hold. He gets tripped. He goes down. There should be a couple of seconds on the clock. Not reviewable inside the last 2 minutes upstairs, but clearly an error in judgment in terms of winding the clock on a change of possession. That was a 4th down play. Here is Creighton for a gain of 8. Andrea talked to Wade Phillips. What did he have to say, Andrea?
Well, as you can imagine, Wade Phillips, as angry and animated as I've seen him, he was furious. He said there should have been at least 1 second left on the clock. As for his team's offense, he said it wasn't so much that they weren't in rhythm, but there were too many penalties, and he said not getting that field goal really hurt. But guys, huge news for the Bears. Linebacker Lance Briggs is out with a groin injury. Jamar Williams takes his place. Lovie Smith said they won't change anything on defense.
Briggs, obviously, key man for them, one of the best linebackers in the league. Romo's going to step up, hold on to the ball, and then throw against the grain and find Owens. So Terrell gets free, and that's a 1st down. Improvisation out to the 37-yard line.
Yeah, we talked about the Bears and their 8-man front, and when they bring Adam Archuleta up as a safety, he becomes the 8th man. On that play, he blitzed. And he blitzed on Romo's left side, and that's the side that Romo ran to. If you'll see, the blitz is going to come right in here. You see Archuleta blitzes that side. Now he doesn't have anything to his right, so he runs out to the side that the blitz came from because it was a great blitz pickup by the Cowboys.
Chicago very active in their defensive alignment before the snap. And after all, that a 3-yard gain for Julius Jones out to the 39-yard line. Stats through the first half right there. 8-1 on the penalty ledger. Only 139 yards for Dallas and 105 for Chicago.
Right, and that's when, you know, Wade Phillips was talking about those 8 penalties killed him because it brought some plays back and gave him some terrible field position.
2nd down and 7. From the 39-yard line. Romo deep over the middle and off the fingertips of Jason Witten, who in the first half collected 3 passes for 72 yards. 3rd down.
You know, one of the big matchups in here is Tommy Harris coming up the middle, and you watch here he's going against Leonard Davis. And he just kind of pushes him to the outside so that Romo, after the play pass, can come out of it. Here we'll look at it. Tommy Harris, one of the good pass rushers. Leonard Davis, one of the biggest guys in football, 350 pounds, is tough to get through. You know you're not going to get through him, and he's pretty tough to get around.
3rd down and 7 from the 39-yard line. Romo stepping up, hit from behind, gets it off, catch made. Owens over the middle, drew a crowd. Romo got it in there in between Archuleta and Tillman, and that's a gain of 18 to move the chains.
You know, this is the thing that Tony Romo can do so well, is move in the pocket. And we see Tommy Harris is going to be right there, and just as he goes to wrap him up, Tony Romo is still looking upfield, and throws the ball while he's being tackled. That's the advantage of being a great athlete and a great competitor. You have to be able to throw the ball from different angles, including your knees.
Romo. That's Owens again, so they keep calling 81's number. Almost a horse tackle there by Jamar Williams, but he got his hand away in time. He would play a lot anyway, but now he's really going to be more than part of a rotation, depending on Agunlaye's status. Romo with that great pocket presence, and again it's Owens. Owens to the 9-yard line for a 1st and goal. Terrell Owens has now caught 7 passes tonight for 110 yards.
You know, that was the thing we were talking about earlier, is can Tony Romo get away from the inside rush, and he's done it a couple times. See, here comes Tommy Harris again. Romo just sidesteps him, gets to the outside, again continues to look downfield and find Terrell Owens right there. And that's the thing where this guy is so good, because protection can break down. He can get a rush, but he can still keep a play alive.
Jones is the tailback. Here's Julius. And Julius Jones is out of bounds at the 3. His brother Thomas, the former Bear, now with the Jets, had a 100-yard day today. Julius and Marion Barber going back and forth in the Dallas backfield. 2nd and goal.
You know, and one of the things when Jason Garrett came in here, he wasn't going to just, you know, take Julius Jones out when they got inside the red zone, because before they would kind of put Marion Barber in this situation, and Jason was saying if Julius Jones is in there, then he's going to stay in there. If Barber's in there in any situation, he'll stay in there.
2nd down and goal. Off the fake to the end zone. Touchdown to Witten. Archuleta was on him. The play fake. Here's Andrea.
Well, it's interesting. I watched Rex Grossman on the sidelines for the first couple of series in the first half. What he typically does is comes off, looks at the pictures with quarterback coach Pep Hamilton and the other fellow quarterbacks, then just likes to walk away. He had told me before he likes to keep his thoughts to himself, thinking about what's ahead. He will get on the phone with his offensive coordinator, Ron Turner, but really, guys, he doesn't want a lot of people in his ear. He just wants to keep to himself.
They're all the same type of thing, those, you know, crossing patterns, and you just kind of got the feeling that that was the adjustment the Cowboys made offensively at halftime. You know, let's come out, we're going to throw, let's get some protection, and we're going to throw the ball to Terrell Owens on crossing.
On 1st and 15, this is Benson taking it up to the 14-yard line.
You know, one of the things Andrew was just talking about Rex Grossman and not having a lot of people in his ear. One thing you can't do is you can't let players talk to the quarterback. I mean, you can't let receivers come up and probably say, I want the ball. You can't let runners say, you know, run me the ball. You can't let offensive linemen say, run to my side, those types of things. You have to have all the players just leave them alone.
2nd and 10, Grossman. Protection is great this time, but so is the coverage by the secondary. Mohammed is double teamed by Reeves and Spencer. 3rd and 10, Bluebirds come out.
You know, one of the things the Bears probably talked about is getting Musa Muhammad, number 87, involved here. And so they're trying to do that. Now Grossman comes on a roll, so he starts, you know, running a hook and coming in, and then he just keeps going to the out on that side, and that was Berrien on the other side here.
3rd down and 10 at the 14. Carpenter showing blitz, then backs off and into coverage. Grossman nearly got sacked from behind. He's going to dive for the 1st down and get it. Across the 25 to the 26-yard line. He does it himself.
Yeah, and Rex Grossman has to do that. Every quarterback has to be able to make a play with his legs. When we just saw that last drive, we saw Tony Romo do it, and then we see right here Rex Grossman has to do it. If they give you that gap, if they give you that hole, you have to take it, but you also have to get a 1st down. Look at Rex Grossman here. He knows where he has to get for that 1st down, and he gets there.
2nd longest run of his career from the 26-yard line. He throws. He has the open man. Clark, the tight end. Williams tried to bump him down and couldn't, and that cost Dallas about another 25 yards. Hamlin finally catches up with him. All the way to the 21-yard line.
As you say, Roy Williams had pretty good position on. We can see right there, it's the outside receiver, and he runs a little out and then back into the middle. A little out and up as a tight end from the slot, Desmond Clark, and then he's a big, strong guy. Roy Williams knows that you have to wrap up on a tackle. He doesn't wrap up on Desmond Clark, and Clark gets another 20 yards.
52 on the play. From the 22. Grossman staying in the pocket. Over the middle. He winds up hitting Greg Olsen, the #1 draft choice, for a 1st down at the 1. So he goes to one tight end, the veteran, then he goes to the other, making his NFL debut. 1st and goal.
And they couldn't wait to get Greg Olsen back. Here he is right here. He's the tight end. They really worked with him on this pattern a lot on Friday. They said once they get in the red zone, Greg Olsen is going to be a big threat. And you can see right here, Rex Grossman can see him. He darn near looks at him all the way. That was where he was going.
First and goal. And Benson will take it in. The big play, well, a couple of them, but go back to Rex Grossman on a 3rd and 10, running for the first down. Then the pass to Clark, then to Olsen, now the touchdown.
You're right, the big play was Rex Grossman running. You see right there, Reuben Brown, the big left guard, number 74, he pulls, and he's going to lead Benson. As he starts to lead him right there, there's no one to block. He just puts his head down, runs into the end zone.
One thing that borders on amazing is the fact that Rex Grossman, who had that great run on 3rd and 10, almost never scrambles as Romo on first down throws, and that is caught by Witten. Over the last 2 seasons, Grossman has 27 carries. 22 have been kneel downs or fumbles. 3 were sneaks. So that was only over the last 2 seasons the 3rd real run for Rex Grossman. And what a run. That may have turned a few things around.
Right, and it was exactly what he needed and exactly what the team needed at the right time. And quarterbacks have to be able to do that. If they're going to rush you wildly and give you those gaps, you have to take them 2 or 3 times a game.
2nd and 4. And that pass is a little low and incomplete, intended for Creighton. Coverage was very good. Nathan Vasher, 31, was there. 3rd down and 4.
I think he sees that Brian Urlacher is coming on a blitz. You'll see number 54 right here blitzing, and I think that Tony Romo knows that, so he starts to move a little. See him fake to the left, move out to his right, but again, always looking upfield. That time, I think he threw it away from the defense rather than throwing it to Creighton.
3rd and 4. Again, Owens has been lining up in the backfield and then going in motion, as is the case here. Romo, flag. For the moment, it's a first down. Barber to the 25-yard line.
And Tony Romo is a quarterback that's not afraid of a third and 11. The Cowboys can be successful in this situation.
Romo over the middle. Owens! What a night for this guy. And look at this. He's not done yet. Out to the 47-yard line. Sam Hurd threw a real nice block to help spring him for even more yardage. So out of a hole they come from 3rd and 11 to first down near midfield, 35 yards.
Here we're talking about that wide rush that the Bears use. And you can see, look at the middle that they give Tony Romo there. Not only can he step up to throw in there, but he has great vision in the middle. And then you bring Terrell Owens across, and you're going to see everything that he does. You see that block there by Sam Hurd?
Oh, yeah, on Archuleta.
Yeah, wide receivers have to do that. That's part of their program and part of what they get paid for.
Up at the 43. 5:20 to go in the 3rd. Romo slings it wide open. That's Hurd, and that's Archuleta again. So the 2 guys who faced each other on the last play, with Hurd getting the best of Archuleta, and he does it again to him on a play that covers 25 yards.
Don't you like to see that kind of reward? Is a guy makes a block, and then the next play you throw him a deep one? He started on the left side, came in motion across the field, caught him in a zone, and then caught that ball in between the short guy and the deep guy.
Beat the corner. Archuleta came over to stop him at the 32-yard line. Romo. That presence again. Well, he's so good at turning those shoulders, and the pass is incomplete. John talking about the instincts in the playground. He's so good at just moving those shoulders left and right and buying that extra time.
Right, and that's the type of thing that you really can't teach. I mean, there's so many things that Tony Romo does that are just instinct. I mean, he feels that rush, but even when he feels the rush, he gets away from it, and his eyes go upfield again. I mean, he never puts his eyes down. He never looks at the rush. He doesn't worry about it. He's always looking upfield to get the ball down there.
Second and 10 from the 32-yard line. And a quick pass for Creighton. This time he holds on. He's in trouble tonight handling the football.
And everything there is here. I mean, this is about, you know, the Bears and the Cubs and sports, and it's just a great place to spend a week.
From the 22-yard line to the outside, Barber. Of course, everybody's talking about the Cubs. Baseball season with a week to go. Cubs appear to be on their way to postseason play. Lou Piniella comes in, as he's done so many times in his career. Helps to resurrect the team. Who knows?
Right, I'm sitting in the lobby the other night, just sitting there, not bothering anyone. Guess who walks up? I swear, Ernie Banks.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Mr. Cub, let's play two.
Yep.
No, that's great. I mean, you know, that's one of the great things about this job and traveling and sports is you get to meet class and great people like an Ernie Banks on your way to this.
And he means it, too. He could go to a doubleheader every day. 2nd down and 6. Barber. And Barber takes it close to a first down. Marion Barber's father was an NFL running back, primarily with the Jets years ago. Marion's really come along. Junior, 4th-round pick in 05 out of Minnesota. 16 touchdowns, including 14 rushing touchdowns last season.
Right, and he averages 6.2 yards per carry. So everyone says, you know, why doesn't he play all the time instead of Julius Jones? Well, Julius Jones, you know, plays some of those tough downs, those, you know, the first 2 series, which are always the toughest in the game. And Marion Barber's a good back. He's a tough guy. He's a good blocker. I like what he does, but I kind of like the combo of both of them. You know, it doesn't have to be either or.
3rd and a short 1. Barber. And Barber, despite running a lot on 3rd down last year, he was only 10 for 20. Not a good percentage on 3rd or 4th and 1, but he gets it here. So Marion Barber moves the chains. We tick down under 2 minutes to go in the quarter, and the ball will be spotted on the 10-yard line.
Well, it's Jason Witten is right here, and he's going to get a good lead block there. And again, Barber has a little patience. You know that if you just take that ball and just put your head down and ram it in there, that's not the way to get first downs. You have to have vision. You have to be able to make little cuts, find creases.
It's 1st and goal. The nose of the ball right on the 10. The Cowboys have 14 first downs tonight. That's their first rushing. Swing pass. Barber. Cuts it back inside the 5, breaking tackles, goes in for the touchdown. Broke out of an Adam Archuleta tackle. So Adam had a series to forget. Tony leading the team on 2 touchdown marches here in the 3rd quarter. Now Grossman will start this drive by going to the outside. Works the sidelines again, and this time to Cedric Benson out of the backfield for a gain of 8 yards.
You know, one thing I think the Bears have to do is continue to run, you know, and not just get into one of these things, pass all the time. Because remember talking to Lovie Smith the other day, he said, you know, we're a running team. And I think if you are a running team, you better start to show it now.
2nd down and 2. And again, Benson should have enough for a first down. Gets across the 45-yard line. Dallas thinks that the ball came loose. And that's going to be the case. Very tight call. Benson had fumbled on only 2 of 267 carries coming into the game. So that's unusual in and of itself. And this is Jones making the catch. He's going to pick up the first down, and then he's going to get horse-collared without a flag, because that's Jamar Williams who comes in. Big night for Owens. 8 catches, 145 yards.
And he's still got some more in him.
Pump fake. Going deep. Too deep. Intended for Witten. Covered by Hillenmeyer.
Watch him here, or right on the snap. Remember in that San Diego game, he got off on the ball and hit Phillip Rivers, the quarterback, before he got the snap.
And created a fumble.
That was when the Chargers were going in for a score.
Yep. 2nd down and 5. And that's a big hole for Jones inside the 10. First and goal at the 3, but a flag down at the 19-yard line, and the indication is against Dallas. You saw Jones come off the field with some assistance. Barber is the back. Hurd goes in motion. The fake to Marion Barber. Romo stepping up. Again, that presence, and turns a would-be sack into a first down as he hits Jason Witten to the 20-yard line.
You know, and I believe him when he says that. You know, he said that he can look right or left, but in looking right or left, he always sees the middle. You see, he's looking right out there, but then he makes a turn and comes right back to the middle because, you know, it's not just looking and just seeing one thing. His peripheral vision is so good that as he's looking to the outside, he can still see the middle. And that's where he's finding Jason Witten, and that's where he's been finding Terrell Owens all night.
And his instincts, that a lot of it has to be just God-given to be able to feel it the way he does. This time it doesn't matter because it is Brian Urlacher who comes in and says, I've seen enough of that God-given stuff. You're going down.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. Maybe he didn't say given. But he came flying in there, and you're right. Urlacher says we've had enough of that stuff. And again, you know, someone has to block him. I mean, you know, that the guy is, you know, we're talking about Tony Romo, he is Superman, but if you don't give him a little more help than Marion Barber gave him on that one, then Urlacher's going to get him to the ground.
Urlacher with 2 sacks tonight, 3 in the last 2 weeks after going 28 games without a sack.
It just took Terrell Owens out. 2nd and
20. Here's Barber. Bowling balls his way to the 25-yard line. Jamarl Williams filling in for the injured Lance Briggs on the stop.
Yeah, we've talked about this Bear defense getting a little tired and worn down. I think Terrell Owens has caught so many passes. He's caught 8 passes already. I think he's kind of worn himself down. So he just went out for 1 play. He's coming back in right now.
Bob Babbage took over as the defensive coordinator. Ron Rivera was here last year. Rivera then goes to San Diego.
I'd say the 2 guys I would take away right here would be Terrell Owens and Witten.
Owens wide to the right. Witten comes off the line on the left side. The pass is for Owens, and it is incomplete. Charles Tillman was there, read it perfectly, was able to step in front and force the incompletion, and Dallas will settle for a field goal.
I mean, the Bears tackle and strip and do those kinds of things.
Adrian Peterson is in the backfield. Grossman will go deep down the sideline. That is picked off. And that's Henry with his 2nd and 4th in 2 weeks. Inside the 10 and a touchdown. As Keith Jackson would say, whoa, Nelly.
Right, that's exactly what the Cowboys needed and exactly
perfect rating at 158.3. Grossman hit as he throws, and the pass is collected by Berrien. But the week starts with McNabb embroiled in the controversy surrounding his remarks to James Brown. Everybody's saying, well, his knee is not 100%. People saying, well, maybe it's time for McNabb to leave Philadelphia. They're facilitating his exit. Then there's some speculation in Chicago. McNabb's a Chicago kid. Maybe we can get him here. Well, McNabb is not going anywhere right now except the Meadowlands next week.
Right, and, you know, a player can have a bad game, an offense can have a bad game, but like I said, great players and coaches and systems don't stay bad.
There's Berrien dropping it here. 2nd down and 10.
Now, if you say, what did Rex Grossman do well tonight? The one thing he did well was throw this out pattern. I mean, he threw the outs and the hooks pretty well. Although that one was intercepted, but he didn't have a chance on that one. But where he doesn't throw well are the ends, and he really didn't have any deep ones other than that one that Berrien dropped earlier.
Brian Greasy on the sideline as Grossman shot puts one over the middle. That's caught by Adrian Peterson. Let's go to Andrea.
Well, with all the speculation about what's happening to Rex next week, what about next year? He is in the last year of his contract. He told me that the Bears said to him in the offseason that they want to see him take the next step, which is similar to what they told Lovie Smith last year, and he was rewarded handsomely after he produced by taking the team to the Super Bowl. Grossman said he understands he's only had 1 full year as a starter. He said it hasn't affected his preparation. Really, his individual performance is more important than anything now. But one other thing, guys, I asked Tommy Harris, do you still have faith with him in the locker room? And he said we have to. And if we don't, just shut up about it.
And you have too many of the pieces to be a real good team to have to start all over again.
And that's something, John, I think a lot of people overlook as they pick up the first down here on the Peterson run. It's not as if you're saying, okay, it's time for the veteran to go. We got this young up-and-coming guy, and let's see what happens with him. This is Greasy going into his 10th season. I mean, Brian is tried and true, but here's a guy, I mean, Brian with Denver and Miami and Tampa Bay and now Chicago. And there's Kyle Orton, the other quarterback, who's number 3. That's not the long-term answer.
No, and then you have to have a long-term answer, so then you have to start all over again to get a quarterback. And then someone said, why didn't 5 years ago you take Tony Romo, who was just down the road, and then go into that side of the street? I would say, if I'm Jerry Jones, I think Tony Romo has shown me enough that I would start to tie him up.
Calf roping. They'll tie him up pretty soon.
I don't know. You know, I mean, it's one of those things that they can let him go and then franchise him. Yeah, I wouldn't mess with him that way. I wouldn't do that.
That's true. Mohammed picks up the first down on that reception. And that pass to the outside is incomplete, intended for Mohammed. Speaking of that Romo contract, Andrea?
I'm just brimming with contract information, guys. I talked to Jerry Jones before the game, and he said they are continuing to talk, but he said the more games that Romo plays, the more he knows and the better decisions he can make. And remember, there is no pressure to get the contract done. I know you don't like to hear it, John, but Romo can be franchised for the next 2 seasons. So as far as they're concerned, they really have him wrapped up for that period of time.
Yeah, but that's not enough, and Jerry Jones is a smart guy and knows that.
Yeah, I agree with you, John. It's not something you want to do with a guy who you want to be the face of the franchise for a while. Here's Adrian Peterson. Meanwhile, the Bears have also seen Ruben Brown get shaken up on this series, the starting left guard, and he was taken back to the locker room. So they're paying a price in terms of injuries tonight as well as on the scoreboard.
Yeah, the Cowboys have come in here and whipped them pretty good tonight.
3rd and 10. It was 3-3 at the half. Grossman. Ooh, here comes the crowd again. Anthony Spencer with a sack. But you've got a flag back at the 36-yard line. The game, I think yesterday, in fact.
Right, when you can say that the day before the game and then come in here and do what he's done tonight, that's true confidence bordering on arrogance.
Use a little clock here, Barber. Well, for Mr. Wade Phillips, big change, of course, in San Diego. He left there along with Cam Cameron, who went to Miami and is now the head coach. And, of course, Marty Schottenheimer got fired. But, you know, the thing about Wade Phillips, I don't want to contrast him with Parcells. I mean, obviously, they're different guys and everything. And, you know, there's a love affair going on right now with Wade. He's got that wonderful Texas homespun humor. I'm reading this Q&A with him last week in one of the Cowboy publications, and it's one of those things about what's your favorite food, what's your favorite TV show, your favorite book, and then the question is, what would you be doing if you're not coaching? And his answer was, I wouldn't be answering this questionnaire. Perfect. 2nd and 7. Barber up to the 32. This is adding injury to insult. Briggs out, Vasher out, Brown out, all starters, and there's Tommy Harris, who got kicked in the groin on the previous play. So, of course, Harris coming off the hamstring. He wants the camera to get out of there. So,
that's a big part of their defense when you have Tommy Harris, a defensive lineman, and Briggs, a linebacker, and Vasher, a defensive back. Your defense has been hit injury-wise on all 3 levels.
3rd and 1, and that's not to even mention, as it's close to a first down for Barber, they lost Mike Brown, their starting safety, on opening day, and Dusty Dvorak, who was a starting defensive lineman, was going to at least rotate in a lot. Back last year for 4 games. and they lost Sean Alexander for 6, so they were able to get through that, but they're one of the very few teams that was able to pull it off in recent years.
You know, we were talking about Wade Phillips, and remember last week we had the San Diego Chargers, and I was saying that it takes a while to, you know, adjust to a new coaching staff. The Chargers had 8 new coaches, but here's a guy, the same situation. I mean, he comes in here and he coaches quick. You know, I mean, everyone got what he was doing defensively. Jason Garrett put in a new offense. They got it offensively, and they got it right off the bat to get off to a start like this. So, you know, I mean, they have good players, and they've done a good job in that area, but they've had super coaching.
2nd and 9, Barber. And Barber gets taken down by Tillman. And John, a word about Bill Parcells as well, because we were talking about Bill, and he spent 4 years there and helped, you know, get the franchise turned around after 3, 5, and 11 seasons. And Tony Romo, in a way, Tony felt terrible at the end of last season. The botch snap in Seattle, not just because, in effect, it was the key play of the game and cost him the game, but he thought that might have facilitated, you know, Parcells' departure. Because remember, at that point, Bill was kind of on the fence about whether he'd come back or not, and Tony at one point thought, oh, you know, man, I just sent Bill Parcells into retirement. But it's interesting how Parcells stayed around in Dallas after he had announced he was gone and had a nice little talk with Romo. And just to paint the picture, as Barber breaks one into the secondary, inside the 30, the 20, inside the 10, and all the way to the 1-yard line. And those words ring in Tony's ears. And this season so far, good enough has been better than good enough.
You're right,
almost great.
But he's not going to let this good enough be good enough either.
Right. 2nd and goal. Barber to the end zone. You knew we had to get Sid's name. You know, you have to get Sid's name.
It always goes back. Whenever you talk about Chicago Bears and offense and quarterbacks, eventually you will get back to Sid Luckman.
And there's another interception by Williams. Roy Williams with a pick. Yeah, there are moments in time, and this is one of them for this team. I know it's early and all of that, but it's a bit of a cliche. We've made a statement or a statement game and all of that, but in effect, yeah, got off to a nice start against the Giants. Looked very good last week against Miami. Now you come in here, you go home 3-0. You got St. Louis next week. They're reeling. Then you go to Buffalo, and then they've got a game. They've got a game against New England on Sunday, October 14th in Dallas.
Right. You always want to measure yourself, you know, and you know, the Cowboys, I think, came in here and said, if we want to be the best, we have to beat the best. And in the NFC last year, the Chicago Bear team was the best. Those two are two happy guys, aren't they?
Very. You know, it's the same picture we saw at the end of the Giant game a couple weeks ago. Stuff all over the place. 3rd down and 10 at the 47-yard line. And now they go to their 3rd back, Tyson Thompson, an Irving, Texas native. I think his receiver, the player.
I do too. I mean, Terrell Owens played great tonight, and he's been that way all this season. I mean, watching on film, he works as hard as I've ever seen him work in a game, and he's always there, and he's getting open, making the tough. To pile up opened on him over the years.
Oh man.
But I remember, you know, I did a game against the Chicago Bears, San Francisco 49ers against the Chicago Bears, when Terrell Owens caught 20 passes, a league record. Jerry Rice's last game at home for the 49ers.